Welcome everyone to today's news, and today we're going to be talking about Death Stranding, or the central concept of Death Stranding, which apparently is mind-blowing and ahead of its time, according to Norman Reedus. In an interview with B&H Photography Podcast via Metal Gear Informer, Norman Reedus, who is playing the main character in the upcoming game, said the concept is so mind-blowing because it's not like, kill everybody and win the game, it's a connecting thing. It's like the opposite. And it's so ahead of its time. And there's elements of social media in it, and the idea is that, you have so many games, and so many parts of millennial culture, I guess, is being alone in a room, and you lose physical contact with people. This is after that, and the re-establishing of that physical contact. Whatever it is, given Kojima's genius, we have no doubt that it will be unique. Indeed, everything we've seen of the game so far has indicated that it will be typical Kojima in every possible way, but just more than ever before. Death Stranding is currently due to launch at some unspecified time in the future, first on the PS4 and then later on PC. Moving on to PlayStation VR, it's a surprisingly full-featured VR solution given its low entry price, but one of the things that's held it back is its reliance on Sony's PlayStation Move motion controllers for input. Now, PlayStation Move wasn't all that accurate to begin with, and was susceptible to a lot of interference, so it's definitely unsuited to something like VR. Sony would have been better off developing a new motion controller specifically for PlayStation VR, and that seems to be what they're doing. Sony Interactive Entertainment has filed new patents for motion controllers, and among other things, it seems like these controllers will be adding analog sticks, which is something Move controllers lack and which PSVR players have been asking for a while. A second patent seems to indicate that knuckle tracking is also inbound for the PSVR, which is interesting as that opens up all sorts of new possibilities for Sony's VR platform. Whether or not these patents are for the current PlayStation VR or for a future model, or whether or not they even come to fruition as a final product remains to be seen. CD Projekt Red's upcoming RPG Cyberpunk 2077 seems to be a long way off, but it's fairly exciting at this stage, especially with the new information that's become available. Brian Mantia and Melissa Reese, who are both known for their associations with the legendary rock band Guns N' Roses, as well as their work on several other high-profile games, are currently working on composing music for CD Projekt Red's upcoming game. In a recent interview, Mantia has confirmed that he is indeed working on Cyberpunk 2077. "I'm also working on the soundtrack for the Cyberpunk 2077 video game," he said when asked about what he's working on these days. This project in particular has been a little challenging, because the developers are looking for music that's never been heard before, if that makes any sense. They're looking for music that would have been made in the year 2077. I'm into it because I really love white noise, and I figure that's where music is going to be in 60 years from now. Basically, every frequency within the range of human hearing, 20 Hz to 20 kHz. Anyway, I am really digging the experimentation of this project. Mantia has had a stint as the drummer for Guns N' Roses, while Reese is currently a keyboardist for the band, and the IMDb pages for both mention that they're both working on Cyberpunk 2077's soundtrack. They both previously worked on high-profile video games in the past as well. Brian Mantia has worked on games such as Mortal Kombat, with Melissa Reese having worked on Bloodborne, while both of them together worked on Infamous 2 and Infamous Second Son. Given their past record, it's definitely great to hear that they're both involved in the composition for Cyberpunk 2077's soundtrack. And in the least shocking news of the day, it looks like DICE are moving forward with the development of the next game in the Battlefield franchise. As per a job advertisement posted on their official website, the Stockholm studio is looking to hire a senior producer to work on the first-person shooter series. The job applicant needs to meet a list of requirements, among which are, stop us if you've heard this before, excellent understanding of the current shooter market and competition, as well as past work on at least 3 AAA titles developed on PC or console hardware. The job ad reads, "We're now looking for a senior producer to join one of our teams on the Battlefield franchise. As the senior producer, you'll be the primary owner of the project and you'll report to the franchise executive producer. Our ideal candidate has a strong passion for console and PC gaming in general and shooters in particular. Nothing about microtransactions, which is always a good thing. There have been plenty of rumblings online about the future of the Battlefield franchise, so maybe we'll hear more about it in the next few months." Speaking of job advertisements, we've learned thanks to various job ads posted by Treyarch that the studio is currently working on the next Call of Duty project. On Activision's official website, a vacancy in the studio indicates that Treyarch are looking for a senior cinematic animator to work on Call of Duty 2018. As per the posting, the Call of Duty Black Ops 3 developer is looking to create the highest quality cinematic animation that will push the boundaries of gameplay, storytelling, and technology. What's more, if everything else that's written in the posting is anything to go by, it definitely looks like story and storytelling are going to be a major focus in the next Call of Duty title. Hopefully, it won't be on the scale of Call of Duty Black Ops 3, which was like Ghost in the Shell and The Matrix mixed together in some unholy concoction. It is stated that the applicant will be producing high-quality cinematic animation, while storytelling is also being slated as the highest priority. Additionally, the person applying for the job will also be responsible for major story arcs from inception to completion. Of course, Activision haven't officially confirmed it yet, but it's no surprise to anyone that there's going to be another Call of Duty game by Treyarch this year. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 perhaps? We'll see. Halo 6, or whatever it ends up being called, has to be one of the most highly anticipated games among Xbox One owners. Even though there's been no official confirmation or announcement regarding the game, it's a pretty well-known fact that it's under development at 343 Industries and is bound to release sooner or later. As per a new rumor, 343 Industries were apparently considering a loot box system for Halo 6's online multiplayer component, but decided to re-evaluate that choice after the controversy surrounding Star Wars Battlefront 2. According to series director Frank O'Connor, though, that isn't true. O'Connor quickly moved to debunk these rumors in a response to a thread on the Reset Era forums. "This is bunk," O'Connor said. "We're not reevaluating anything significant, and Microsoft, quote-unquote, isn't designing anything for the next game. 343 Industries is. We watched the EA Battlefront thing with the curiosity you'd expect, but our current rec system is player-focused and well-liked and unintrusive as far as these things go. We've made zero announcements about our next projects and continue to work on our next game and technology with players' needs and interests in mind." I suppose you could say Company X is evaluating feature U, quote-unquote, and always have some grain of truth, but we are neither aping nor adapting an unrelated system from another game. He went on to say later in the comment, "Development is rife with normal examples of both of these stories, but in this case, there aren't even notable small examples that this could have been based on. Certainly, in the future, we'll be evolving our systems and tech, and maybe these general and vague statements will have brief applicability," he said before finishing, "but right now, nah." Aside from the impact that the microtransactions in Star Wars Battlefront 2 has caused in the industry, it's perhaps no surprise that 343 Industries will stick with the rec system seen in Halo 5 Guardians. After all, the system has brought in plenty of revenue and allowed the developer to continue supporting the game with multiplayer maps and other free updates. Finally, in one of the most significant news of the week, Xbox Game Pass subscribers going forward will receive all Microsoft Studios titles at the same time that they launch in other storefronts, according to the company. Microsoft noted that the first game to launch on Xbox Game Pass, as well as physical and digital stores, will be Rare's Sea of Thieves on March 20th. Other titles like State of Decay 2, Crackdown 3, and the next games in the Halo, Forza, and Gears of War franchises will also be included. Xbox Game Pass is currently available for $9.99 per month and allows access to a library of 100 titles on the Xbox One for the entirety of that duration. Though some games may be removed from the library and new ones added over time, it was later confirmed that Microsoft Studios games will be available permanently on Xbox Game Pass. Regarding whether Xbox Game Pass could come to PC, Xbox boss Phil Spencer told The Verge that, "I have been on public record saying I want people to play the games they play on the devices they want them to play on. So, stay tuned. We're not announcing anything today other than our biggest games will launch on retail date into Game Pass, but I like your thinking." What are your thoughts on the matter? Let us know in the comments below. That'll be it for this video. If you like what we're doing, please go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.